It gotta be something to watch. It gotta be something to watch. 6 disturbing hunting encounters. So this might be fire. It got 2.6 million
Oh, there he
views.
is. Across the way. Left.
Okay.
This
Might be
Russian video
fire.
begins bizarrely with a hunter kicking a bear in the back. A reckless move with immediate, furious consequences.
Yo, we are 5 seconds into this video, and they talk about kicking a bear in the back. You gotta be one crazy individual to kick a bear in the back. That's insane. That's actually insane. Bro, he actually walking up to a bear. Oh nah. Ooh.
In the chaos that followed, the hunter dropped his camera as the animal retaliated. The footage captures only frantic movement and the sounds of the attack as the situation spirals out of control. Against all odds, the hunter managed to escape with only an injured hand. In this video from Limitless Outdoors, Justin and Colton were out hunting in the Alaskan Rockies when they found themselves confronted by an even bigger predator.
What a wild day.
Oh yeah, also, if you are enjoying the stream, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching this on YouTube, we stream at 8 a.m. or I said 8 a.m. 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. every single day. And we started playing Fears to Fathom. We played the first 2 episodes. So we plan the rest of the episodes next stream tomorrow at the same time. So be there for that.
After we got done skinning the wolf, we kept pressing up the drainage and got to this vantage point and were able to look down and see Colton's moose all decked up on the river. What we also saw that we weren't expecting, though, is a big brown bear on the carcass, and we knew as we had to go in there, we were in for a little bit of a confrontation, and we were wondering just how it was going to turn out.
While most hunters would cut their losses and retreat, Justin and Colton had traveled too far into this remote drainage to simply abandon their quarry. But as they prepared to approach, they faced a big disadvantage.
Our biggest disadvantage moving in on this kill was that we had to drop down in the brush and our visibility was extremely limited. So we tried to position ourselves in a way and be loud enough that this bear would know we were there and we could see him as far away as possible, which was not very far at all.
You got him?
Yep.
There he is.
That bear look huge, bro.
We don't want any problems, bud. They just wanna get the meat. I don't think he liked that.
The hunters tried making noise as they moved through the vegetation, desperately hoping the bear would hear them coming and keep its distance. But when they finally emerged with a clear line of sight, the situation was worse than they feared.
For some reason, that's not very comforting.
No.
Here he comes. He's right there.
As funny as this may sound, the feeling I had with this bear is that he was feeling us out and we were feeling him out, and we were trying to decide between the three of us who was going to get to keep what on this moose.
Hey, buddy.
Bear is huge,
Don't
bro.
you dare.
The grizzly showed no intention of leaving. Justin and Colton found themselves in a tense negotiation with one of North America's most dangerous predators.
Those are not to-go bags.
Oh, he heading over there. Oh nah.
After only about a minute
Coming
of
towards the camera.
negotiations, this bear decided that the decked up moose belonged to me and Colton and that the gut pile belonged to him. So he headed back over there and decided to bury it up before he left and let us come and get our stuff.
He's trying to bury the moose.
The hunters hoped the bear would be satisfied with the gut pile and leave them to retrieve the meat. But the grizzly continued to watch, unwilling to surrender either.
Dude, this here's an Arctic standoff. He doesn't want to leave.
No. Should we back down and get across the creek?
Well, yeah.
Take the shallow spot?
We're gonna load up at 10 feet away. All right, we're gonna have to take our mitts back.
Justin and Colton continue to push forward, closing the distance between them and the large predator.
He's right there still.
Yeah, so here's what we're gonna do.
I will never understand how people can just like get up random day and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go hiking, camping, and if I see a bear, I'm not gonna run. Like, bro, what edge of part of life are you on to just say, I don't care about nothing, and I don't care about a bear either? Like, that's insane.
You're gonna pump up your ass, and I'm gonna
Stand guard.
be a bear guard. It's not super aggressive. Oh, that's cool. Look at that. Look, he's rototill bit.
Somehow, the hunters managed to get close enough to work while the bear remained nearby.
He's way bigger than I thought he was when I saw him across the way.
Yeah.
Look,
Let's get it.
look at the big bear. Hey, bud, look, we're just gonna get our meat. You're gonna stay in there.
Oh, there he is. Across the way. Left.
Okay, look at me. Okay, pump up your ass. Get out of here.
Somehow, the hunters managed to get close enough to work while the bear remained nearby. One stood guard, while the other pumped up their raft, preparing to transport the meat downriver.
Can't that bear still go inside the water?
Oh, get us out farther, Colton, towards the bank. Careful, you. There you go. Man, we're loaded heavy.
That water ain't gonna do
Justin
nothing.
and Colton loaded their raft with their
The bear
equipment
can
and pushed
swim,
off into the
can it
river's
not?
current, leaving the bear behind them. Nick and Ted of the hunting public were tracking deer in a remote backcountry when they heard something that would haunt them for years to come.
Alright, so me and Dad are set up.
Ew,
We
bro,
ended up
why
getting
is
almost
dude
a mile and a
whispering?
half back in here.
Oh,
Walking this ridge top like we were talking about. It ended up being 3 super fresh scrapes. I mean, they're just like completely pawed down. No leaves sitting on them or nothing. So we jumped up in a tree. Pretty dang high up in a tree. Yeah, real high. And we're actually like directly above one of the scrapes. But it's super tight in here. I mean, any shot's gonna be close at all. I mean, 20 and in, 25 and in maybe. But we feel good about it. So, been a sign we found all week.
After settling into the final hunting spot of their trip, they heard something that shook them to their core.
that was good. Husband and the wife man.
Here's somebody get shot.
actually sound kind of scary.
While waiting silently in their position, the first gunshot echoed through the trees.
I mean, there ain't nothing out here.
Ooh.
Somebody is screaming at the absolute top of their lungs over there. Very not good obscenities to someone else. Right before that last gunshot, it sounded like a truck revving up or something, like in gravel, throwing gravel or something. Yeah. And then that gunshot was like, that one sounded like a rifle. That last one, the other one sounded like a handgun. That last one, like,
Gunshots aren't uncommon in hunting areas, but what unsettled them were the screams. Someone was shouting obscenities, their voice filled with terror or rage. Nick and Ted exchanged worried glances as more gunshots followed.
I wonder if they called the cops or something.
something not good's going on. Imagine if we would have.
Okay, these dudes probably have ways to just call the police, or I mean, like they hunting, they can even go and probably check out the situation or something. That's not something I would personally do. But dang, you could do something or just leave, just flat out leave, because that's another option. So it's just like, but they just sitting here like, yeah, that's definitely a gunshot. Oh yeah, somebody's definitely mad over there. Oh yeah, oh yeah, somebody's just talking about it. They not doing nothing. Just talking about it. Somebody is literally A, losing their life, or B, going through a traumatic episode, and they just shucks. Oh yeah.
But ended up warping them on it. How close we would be to that. We might have been able to see it. That's terrifying. That is wicked. Well, hopefully nobody got shot, but sure sounded like somebody did. Sounds like somebody might have got killed.
I mean, one thing they are doing though is that they minding they goddamn business. And that's the best thing you can do in any situation is mind your business.
The sounds of vehicles added to the chaos, engines revving on gravel, sudden movements, vehicles halting and speeding away.
Your vehicle. Yeah. Still screaming. Sounds like somebody crying.
So I can't even get mad at them. They minding their business. They just chilling, minding their business. That's the best thing you can do.
I'm shaking. I mean, it sounds like a guy that's absolutely losing his mind over there. And maybe he shot somebody.
Something terrible was happening just 800 yards from their position. With no cell service and growing concern, they made the decision to leave immediately. As soon as they reached an area with service, they contacted authorities.
Yes. I've heard some stuff that I feel needs to be reported to the police department.
Okay.
I was hunting. Me and a buddy were hunting, and at about 6:45, we heard gunshots, which is not uncommon. But then for 30 minutes straight or so, there was lots of screaming and just people obscenities, and it sounded like something really bad was going on over there. And there was 20 or more gunshots ended up happening, and then I could hear vehicles taking off and coming to a halt, and we didn't know what to do, and we had no service, so we're trying to report and see if anything had been reported about there.
In the days that followed, Nick spoke with the state game warden who
Hopefully it wasn't
investigated
nothing
the
that
area.
happened.
Strangely, they reported finding nothing, no evidence of the disturbing events that Nick and Ted had heard so clearly. Years after the hunting public uploaded their video, a commenter pointed out this chilling detail. After the gunshots, you could clearly hear someone scream, "Somebody help. You effing killed her. I'm from rural Missouri. Someone's daughter is probably missing." Let's take a listen and see if we can hear their voice.
Oh yeah.
The mystery
You
of what
definitely
truly
can hear
happened in
that.
these woods remains unsolved,
Oh no.
with authorities providing no answers. Was it a robbery that spiraled out of control, or a personal confrontation that escalated into violence? Share your thoughts in the comments below. In 2014,
World
Sergey,
is a
an
scary
experienced
place.
hunter, was on a solo expedition deep in Siberia's western Sayan Mountains, 60 miles from the nearest village. One night, while stalking the Manchurian wapiti, Sergey climbed into a tree and settled in to wait. That was when his nightmare began.
В общем, смеркается. Поэтому заранее нужно посмотреть, где какой пень торчит, запомнить местность. Вон с той стороны, слева от меня, тропа звериная к Солонцу тянется. Примерно со стороны избушки. Там избушка заброшенная, уже старая. Вот в этом месте где-то тропа выходит.
At first, everything seemed normal, but around 1 o'clock in the morning, strange metallic sounds of unknown origin broke the silence.
Твою мать.
What's up with all these wood in the wood? Oh wait, no. I guess this is in wood. Oh yeah. Oh, hunting it counts. Okay.
Keep in mind, the man was in the middle of the forest, roughly 60 miles from the nearest village. The sounds continued, strange and rhythmic metallic knocking that persisted for what felt like an eternity.
The videos like this is actually scary because you don't know exactly what's going on. You just got it.
The faint rhythmic
just
metallic
hear.
knocking continued for about half an hour before it began to change, sounding completely different from before.
Somebody literally is screaming.
Sergey knew the call of every animal in the taiga, but he couldn't make sense of what he was hearing. At this point, he had decided to end his hunt and was heading back to camp to try and make sense of the situation. But on the way back, he heard new noises, this time much closer.
Там тоже бурелом. Там огромное лежит. О, блядь. Тихо, 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 братан. Запыхался нахуй. Тихо. Вот там где-то, блядь. А ну-ка, пошли.
could be a skinwalker.
Опять нахуй. О-о-о.
Could just be hyenas.
Ты чё, блядь?
Hyenas, they laugh like that. They got like a laugh.
Something was out there, and it seemed to be tracking his movements. Realizing the situation was critical, Sergei climbed back into a tree to defend himself from above.
Не боись, не боись, не боись. Тихо, осторожно. Блядь, не вниз не улети. Тихо.
The sounds intensified. Whatever was out there wasn't backing down. It was circling him, getting closer with each passing moment.
Bro, this is like a scary movie.
О, блядь.
After firing several shots into the dark, a scream can be heard echoing through the forest. The sound stopped for a while, but only for an hour. Then the noises returned, louder and closer than before.
Вот развлечение
Wait.
найти.
But like, hold on, I'm so confused. So you can literally hear something like approaching him. And then you heard somebody literally say, ah, and they ran away. Hold on, let me go back real quick. Can I be playing this on Twitch? Can this be on Twitch? I hope it can. Oh well.
After firing several shots into the dark, a scream can be heard echoing through the forest. The sound stopped for a while, but only for an hour. Then the noises returned, louder and closer than before.
Вот развлечение найти, твою мать. Ну-ка, давай-ка туда.
Bro, what is that? That is a skinwalker.
Давай, сволочи. Утро близко. Я вас не боюсь, нахуй. А чё за нас спать, вас не боюсь?
Whatever gun he got, that thing loud.
Я покажу, блядь, как.
The intensity of the situation was escalating. Whatever was stalking Sergei wasn't giving up.
Нет, 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 нет. Фонарь не убирай, нахуй, пусть светит. Хер с ней с батареей, тут до утра недалеко. Вон, 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 вон. Вон, 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 вон. Блядь, да их до хера там, ёб твою мать. Тихо, тихо, старик. Сейчас я покажу, блядь, гады. Тоже, блядь. Куда стрелять-то, хуй его знает.
I'm
Туда
so
не туда.
curious what that is though. Like, it could just be two people just trying to be
Близко
funny
совсем.
and like completely doing such a good job. Or it can just be something else. Oh, you see you laughing?
After several shots, silence fell once again, a tense, uneasy silence that lasted until morning. What really happened to him that night? What did he encounter in the dark forest? Was it simply an animal producing those unnatural sounds? Later in his expedition, Sergei came across old traces of human activity, trees marked with cuts for collecting resin, and not far from them, an abandoned camp. In the video's comment section, viewers immediately began speculating about what Sergei encountered that night, from shamans to evil spirits, and even Bigfoot. But the truth is, no one knows what actually happened that night. Perhaps Sergei simply stumbled upon another hunter, and in the isolation of the wilderness, they both frightened each other. Whatever it was, the experience left a lasting mark on everyone who watched the footage.
That was a fire video. Horrors found in home videos. Oh, this is about to be scary.
What is a video? Is it just any moving image? I make
What is
videos that I put on
that?
YouTube, but you wouldn't call a movie or a TV show a video, right? Then again, you can find videos of those things, but television programs and films aren't videos on their own. Before the internet, a video usually referred to one of two things. The first being videotapes, which could store any sort of moving visual data, including professionally made content. Or secondly, and much more commonly, home videos. You see, the modern use of the term video actually stems from home videos, because the history of online content creation directly grew out of people sharing home movies. That's why MrBeast is making videos when he's putting things on YouTube, but when he's doing essentially the exact same thing on Amazon Prime, suddenly it's not a video anymore. If you had asked me in 2004 what a video was, I probably wouldn't have even mentioned the internet. I would have probably just told you about the times my dad would take out the family camcorder and just film whatever we happened to be doing that day. Or the VHS tape that depicts my grandparents' 50th anniversary party. If you're also around the age of 30, chances are pretty good you associate the concept of home videos with some sort of amateur videotape, complete with the chromatic aberration, quality loss, and visual noise typical of magnetic tape formats like VHS. But one thing you probably don't think about is what people used to use before video cassettes. You see, the era of video cassette cameras only really lasted for about 20 or 30 years, between the 80s and the mid-2000s. But for 50 years before that, if you wanted to film a home video, you would have to use a camera that shot on 8mm tape. This was a lot less convenient. You would have to actually develop a roll of film somewhere before you could watch it, but the quality was vastly superior to the magnetic cassette tapes which would be used in future consumer camcorders. I recently came across this upload on YouTube showing off a reel of home videos filmed in 1939 and 1940. It's stunning how good it looks. It's surreal to watch casual clips of people from almost 100 years ago with the same sort of clarity you would get from an Instagram reel filmed yesterday. While home VHS tapes, the most tape were discovered in its original. The LP discovered the tape in the basement of his mother's house. Taking the in the video description, we get some much. This is an extremely mutilated. He then bent a couple signs. Videos produced on 8mm. It also apparently hasn't been preserved all that well and lacks the visual clarity of some of the other tape reels we were just talking about. It appears to show a couple of men riding around on snowmobiles in a wintry forest. We also get a shot of somebody chopping wood, as well as a short clip of a deer standing in the distance in the woods. After the deer though, we get a brief glimpse of something else. The shot is too short to tell exactly what's being depicted here, but whatever it is, it appears to stand quite tall. We cut to a dog sniffing around the snow for something until it points into the woods. This leads into several shaky shots of the cameraman walking through the trees, until this happens. Eventually, the camera falls to the ground and the video cuts out. The Gable film has garnered almost 500,000 views in the 16 years it's been on YouTube. In the description, the uploader gives us some context to this strange video. He says the footage surfaced a few years prior and made its rounds on the internet before he decided to upload it to YouTube. The tape itself was supposedly discovered in somebody's attic and purchased in an estate sale. This upload presents this roll of film in its original unedited format. What the description leaves out, though, is a second roll of film associated with.
It also could just be somebody just being like scary and they're just crawling on all fours. Or actually could be Bigfoot or somebody who is scary. I don't know.
The Cincinnati.
The thing is though, with these type of videos, it look like you can't edit these videos. You can't. Well, you probably can. I don't know.
While the first tape was scanned from the source and played in high quality, this video appears to be a camera filming the tape being played on a projector and is thus shown in very poor quality. It starts with a policeman holding up a couple signs to the camera, but the clarity is too poor to make out what they say. He then bends down and pulls a blanket off of what I can only describe as an extremely mutilated corpse. I can't show you this on YouTube, but this is only the top half of a person. In the video description, we get some much needed context to explain just what we're seeing here. This is supposedly the aftermath of a bear attack on a man named Aaron Gable. It was filmed by the uploader's uncle, who supposedly had a mental health episode after taking this video. The LP discovered the tape in the basement of his mother's house. Internet sleuths investigating these two Gable tapes would attribute this animal attack not to a bear, but instead to a cryptid known as the Michigan Dogman.
See, this is another thing about like old film. Well, not another thing, but one thing. Old film is like one of those type of things where like in this time when this like I guess this type of quality of video was like the only type of quality, people used to probably only video things like that were actually important. Like nobody just were walking around filming random stuff for no reason. Like usually around this time, I'm sure that people was probably filming things because something was like actually seriously needed to be filmed. Like it just seriously needed to be filmed. It wasn't just some gimmick or some crazy like something funny or prank or nothing like that. Like usual nowadays, people what they film nowadays. Back in the day, probably people was actually filming things that was actually important and actually scary and stuff like that. So I don't know.
According to many sources online, this legend dates all the way back to 1887, where local lumberjacks working in rural Michigan occasionally spotted 7-foot-tall beings with blue eyes, walking on two legs, sporting the torso of a man with the legs of a dog. The thing is though, this legend is completely made up. The story of the Michigan Dogman was invented by Traverse City radio host Steve Cook as an April Fool's joke in 1987. That didn't stop people from not only believing it was true, but also seeing the Dogman themselves. After Cook's April Fool's Day broadcast, people would begin calling into his radio station saying that they themselves had encountered the cryptid. News stories would pop up every now and then showing blurry photos of an obscure Dogman just kind of standing in the distance like Bigfoot. This actually got so bad that Steve Cook would make his own website in the mid-2000s to debunk all these supposed sightings, repeating over and over again that the Dogman was just something that he made up. If we look at an archive from 2007, you'll notice the top link here directs to a page discussing the Gable film, which confirms that Museum of the Weird was indeed not the original uploader of this video. No, you might actually be surprised to learn that the original uploader of the Gable film was in fact Steve Cook. He says he was given the video on a DVD by a sincere small-town family who believed that what they had was a legitimate sighting of the Dogman. Steve had uploaded the video to YouTube with the intention of sharing it only between a small group of people for analysis purposes. But of course, it was soon mirrored and the clip spread like wildfire among cryptid enthusiasts. In the article he wrote on his site, Steve includes some evidence to support why he thinks the film is a hoax. He says if you look at the Dogman closely, you can see what appears to be human legs sticking out from under the creature. It's a little hard to see, but we don't really need to look anyways, because this indeed was just a guy wearing a costume.
I said it
Specifically, it's a YouTuber known as Quinlan or 12. He made the Gable film as a fun homage to Steve's legend with his friends in his spare time. On his channel, you can find recreations of how he made the creature as well as more lighthearted sequels to the original project. To this day, you'll still find people online claiming to have encountered the Dogman, as well as a few people who believe the Gable film could still be real.
Did you see that?
On his channel, you can find recreations of how he made the creature as well as more lighthearted sequels to the original project. To this day, you'll still find people online claiming to have encountered the Dogman, as well as a few people who believe the Gable film could still be real, despite the creator coming forward with detailed evidence to back up how he faked the whole thing. On top of this, the Wikipedia page for the Michigan Dogman both lists the true origin of the tale as well as a whole fabricated history, which is all cited from dubious sources written after 1987. It's interesting how if enough people want something to be true, they'll just kinda make it true, whether it actually is or not. The Gable film was indeed a fictional piece of horror media, one that was disguised and packaged as a home video. But these following clips we're about to discuss are all genuine home movies, ones that are terrifying without having to rely on any special effects. Hey guys, I don't have a sponsor on this video, but I do want to take a second of your time to ask you to follow me if I ever video, mostly by giving regular people. All the internet has undeniably changed the way we consume amateur-made media, mostly by giving regular people a platform to directly share content with anybody in the world. Some of you may be surprised to learn that in the pre-internet age, there were still many ways to consume the sorts of casual, unprofessional content that you might find nowadays while scrolling through TikTok. These days, if you wanted to see something crazy, you might go on Reddit and visit a subreddit like public freakouts or crazy fucking videos. In the early 2000s though, you could just turn on the TV and tune into a show like World's Most Amazing Videos or Destroyed in Seconds. These sorts of programs are basically the cable TV network version of a subreddit. They only exist to show and discuss interesting amateur videos that center around a certain theme. And as such, almost all these programs got cancelled once YouTube blew up in the late 2000s, which gave people a much more convenient way to see interesting clips of reality. However, one show did manage to stick around. America's Funniest Home Videos, or AFV for short, is the longest running primetime TV show of all time, churning out more than 800 episodes over the 36 years it's been on the air. Nowadays, the show is not really anything more than a glorified fail compilation and not really worth watching in my opinion, but before Web 2.0, AFV scratched a very hard to reach itch. It packaged the experience of scrolling through social media into a much more
Oh my god, I remember AFV. Like sitting here looking at this, thinking this is just like something random. You actually know what this is? Of course you know what this is. Of course you would know what America's Funniest Home Videos are. I don't know what I've never seen this ever. I've never heard of this. Interesting. The OG Vine. Yeah, I never heard of this before. But I don't watch enough TV. That's probably why though. Your family probably watched America Funny's home videos. My family was watching Saturday Night Live and stuff like that. Kind of like the adult version of Vine before Vine. Saturday Night Live was fire.
Of all time, churning out more than 800 episodes over the 36 years it's been on the air. Nowadays, the show is not really anything more than a glorified fail compilation and not really worth watching in my opinion, but before Web 2.0, AFV scratched a very hard to reach itch. It packaged the experience of scrolling through social media into a much more enjoyable and professional format, showing only the interesting content while leaving out all the rage bait and targeted advertising. Which, now that I'm writing that, actually makes me see why people still watch this show even in 2025. This was my favorite program when I was a little kid. I would eagerly sit with my parents and watch Tom Bergeron narrate over quirky videos of regular people doing zany things. For me, the definition of a home video is intrinsically tied to this show. The term makes me think of 90s Americana depicted on low-quality VHS tapes. Every episode, AFV would encourage viewers to send in their own home videos to be judged on the show. The studio audience would vote for the best video shown in that particular episode, and the people who filmed the winning clip would receive some sort of prize. As such, you can only imagine the sheer volume of tapes AFV has received since 1989. It's not terribly far-fetched to assume that the producers of this show likely have the largest stockpile of amateur-made media in history.
It's kind of weird though. This company just collected a billion, not billions, but millions of like cassette tapes or whatever they send them on, and just have them stashed in a storage house. That's kind of like imagine the type of videos they got. That's kind of scary. I ain't gonna lie.
As of 2024, according to ABC's website, AFV has evaluated over 2 million submitted videos. The program only really shows lighthearted, safe-for-work clips that an entire family can enjoy, so it makes you wonder, what sorts of horrors are laying dormant in this insanely large collection of home videos? In 2014, a Los Angeles-based artist collective known as Everything is Terrible, or EIT for short, would gain access to a storage space containing 300,000 home videotapes. It's never been outright confirmed, but in multiple interviews, members of EIT strongly inferred that these tapes are AFV rejects. Everything is Terrible was founded to share edits made of quirky and forgotten pieces of professionally produced legacy media, so they would start a new project specifically to share the more horrifying and bizarre amateur-made clips contained in these rotting VHS tapes. Memory hole.
Wait, that dude getting that dance. I want to try that dance. Hey, do that dance. That dance fire though. That's a fire
Used
dance.
legacy media. So they would start a new project specifically to share the more horrifying and bizarre amateur-made clips contained in these rotting VHS tapes. Memory hole.
It's a fire dance. But what is going on in this video?
This YouTube channel is essentially the David Lynch version of America's Funniest Home Videos. While AFV often tries to add to the comedy by using creative editing and sound design, Memory Hole does the exact same thing, but to instead enhance the horror. These clips are always presented without any sort of context and contain unsettling ambient soundtracks. They madly cut between each other without any sort of rhyme or reason. You can tell the intention behind these edits are to just make everything as nonsensical as possible, and they've done a pretty good job, I think. In the past, we've talked a lot about shitpost horror. You know, these sorts of nonsensical edits people upload with only numbers as a title. This genre is made to resemble the videotape from The Ring, and the horror comes from the whole surrealness of it all. I don't think anybody does this style better than Memory Hole. If you ever wanted to make a drug trip go bad for some reason, just turn on any video from this channel.
Oh no!
If you ever wanted to make a drug trip go... If I were to choose just one video to talk about from Memory Hole, I would choose Shaving Cream Torture. This one is weird enough that the entire upload is dedicated to just this one clip. It shows a man tied up in a straitjacket covered in shaving cream holding an 8-ball in his mouth. He stares bug-eyed at the camera and that's about it. Nothing else really happens here. It's kind of insane to think that somebody thought this would make it onto the family-friendly America's Funniest Home Videos. This resembles a snuff film more than a home video. I tried to do an image back search to see if maybe this popped up anywhere else other than Memory Hole, but no dice, which isn't a terribly uncommon situation when researching clips from Memory Hole. Normally, I like to try to uncover the origins of videos I talk about, or at least attempt to understand the context surrounding a clip. Here though, there just isn't really much we can actually investigate. Almost all these videos were filmed before the internet, and there's just no information about any of them. The term memory hole refers to an imaginary place or media that somebody wants to disappear can go to, in effect removing that piece of content from existence. The videos on the Memory Hole channel exist, but they live completely detached from the people who made them. We're never gonna know what was happening before or after any of these films were made. We're never gonna know who's in them and why they're doing what they're doing. The only piece of context we get is the date stamp that sometimes shows up in the corner.
What am I watching?
Memory Hole isn't really very entertaining to watch on its own for more than a couple minutes. It's abrasive and unsettling. You sometimes get the feeling while watching these that something bad is about to happen, but that never comes to fruition. This channel serves as a look into the most bizarre corners of humanity, one that could only exist from the marriage of the internet age with the pre-internet era. Memory Hole still sporadically uploads here and there, but the project is well past the heyday it had in the 2010s, and I'm not sure the world will ever have another opportunity to birth a media project quite as—
Bruh, somebody got a moose walking in their house. You don't see nothing close to anything like this nowadays. A moose walking
strange
into
and
somebody's
authentic as
house.
Memory Hole. I wish I could fill an entire video just talking about all the insane stuff you can find on Memory Hole, but like I said, there's not really much you can say about any of it. There's no stories to tell, no mysteries to unravel. The Challenger space shuttle disaster that had occurred a decade prior gave the US government cold feet when it came to letting private companies use NASA shuttle missions to launch their satellites, meaning these companies would instead have to organize their own rocket launches into space, an incredibly expensive venture to undertake. Intelsat, though, found a savvy solution to this problem. Instead of working with the US government, they would just seek another nation state who would let them hitch a ride on one of their rockets in exchange for some help with their space program. The country they ultimately decided to work with was China, who was looking to enter the international space market at the time. Intelsat would work with another company called Lantera Space Systems to build the satellites, and China would be responsible to build the rockets and to host the launches, the first of which happened in late 1992 and was semi-successful, although the satellite was damaged during the flight. The second launch happened 3 years later in 1995 and was an immediate failure. The rocket exploded less than a minute into the flight, raining flaming debris onto the nearby rural villages of the Liangshan Yi Prefecture, the homeland of China's Yi people. According to Chinese sources, 6 people died and 23 more were injured as a result of the falling debris. China would blame the satellite for the explosion, although Western sources purported that the failure was a result of the payload fairing collapsing inside the rocket mid-launch due to structural weakness. Despite this disaster, China and Intelsat would still schedule another rocket launch a year later in 1996, this one intended to launch the Intelsat 708 satellite. The countdown began at 2:56 in the morning on the 15th of February. Only 2 seconds into the launch, the rocket began to point away from the sky and instead towards the residential villages on a nearby mountain. 22 seconds later, the team would remotely detonate the rocket, but that didn't really help the situation. The now exploding rocket would still manage to directly hit the hillside littered with rural settlements, with the fuselage igniting upon impact and creating another horrific explosion. The Chinese government would investigate this disaster and they tallied the casualties as 6 dead and another 57 injured. But Western media would estimate that up to 500 villagers may have been killed because of this explosion. While an official Western investigation never happened, Western sources would instead rely on home videos filmed by employees of the American aeronautical companies that were operating in the area who managed to survey the crash site themselves. Through analyzing this footage, Western media were able to count 80 houses that had been completely destroyed in just one of these rural villages. One of the home movies used to document the destruction was this one, which was filmed by Troy Wells. The footage is disturbing, with Troy and his companions continually reacting in shock to the sheer scale of the destruction.
Why you can dig up the yourself?
Oh my god.
That looks like the rec center.
哇，你看在山上喂。
Yeah, right here.
Crazy. That is insane.
I'm out of film. there. Did you buy it now? Oh, okay. There's had to be some people that died.
Throughout the video, you can also see the Yi people who used to occupy these now destroyed buildings just wandering around aimlessly, seemingly having no idea what to do or where to go now that their homes have been
That's
utterly
so
demolished.
sad, bro. That's crazy.
This video is disturbing enough on its own, but believe it or not, we haven't even gotten to the interesting part yet. You see, about 18 minutes in, the footage fades to black, as if it's about to finish. But then, something else fades in.
Hello, my name is Janet Shipp, and in order to prepare you for your trip to China, we would like you to take this simple multiple choice quiz. Remember, there is only one correct answer for each question. Ready? Here we go. This is a picture of A, a creature found in nearby hills, B, dinner, C, a Hughes technician. These guys should score a point in horseshoes, A, in 30 to 40 minutes, B, when Mabuhay launches, or C, next leap year. When you wake up in the morning, you have to open your hot water valve and let it run. You should get hot water, A, in 30 to 40 minutes, B, when Mabuhay launches, C, by next leap year.
The quiz continues on like this for
I'm
another
like
3 minutes or so. Each question is
dumbfounded.
stranger and more vaguely racist than the last, and watching them fly by, you get a growing impression that this whole thing is meant to be some sort of joke, most likely made by the employees of the Hughes company. But why would this occur directly after footage of a real disaster? This was put on YouTube by a channel called Fred V. This upload unfortunately doesn't have comments enabled, but on one of his other videos, somebody asked Fred about this creepy quiz. He responded saying that he got the VHS tape from the Lantera Space Company, but he doesn't know why the quiz is there. This whole thing comes off like analog horror when it's all put together, but I do have two theories to explain this. The first one is that this is just a mean joke, designed by the employees to poke fun at a disaster that killed many people. I don't really believe that. My second, more plausible theory is that this was a joke that was made before the rocket crash happened, and it was just accidentally placed on the same VHS tape as the disaster footage. This feels much more likely to me, and it highlights the dramatic irony.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. All right, y'all. It's that 12 a.m. mark. Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you check me out on Twitch at JapanWayJay. 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. is every single day where I stream, where you can come back or come by, say hi to the stream, say what's up, watch us play some games, and also eat with us, you know what I'm saying, and watch some YouTube videos, chill, kick back, grab a drink, chill. So yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and look out for future more beauty videos. And appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good night or a good day, whatever morning, whatever time of day it is. Peace out. We're gonna go ahead and wrap that stream up. W stream. W stream. Yeah. All right, y'all. Peace out. We done. Oh wait.